Human Show. Hello, everyone. So welcome to this, it's not week, is it? 2-weekly session of the Human Show. And this week we're on a full moon, which I believe happened sometime last night. Is that correct, Claire?
Yes, it is, Tamar. We've got a full moon in Leo. It's
And is
actually
it
the
wolf
Birch
moon?
full moon in Leo.
I heard it was a wolf moon. Is that a different calendar because it's the first one of the year? Is that different?
Oh, here we go. It's basically
Yeah.
June's like it's basically known as the wolf moon by Native Americans, called it the wolf moon, and possibly some people over here, maybe even the Vikings. I don't know. Maybe Jean can speak to that. But basically, I'm all about the Celtic, pagan trees and things like that. So I like to draw people's attention back to the magic in England and say, look, connect your moon with a tree, a native tree. And that's why this is Birch, because it's the first moon after full moon after the winter solstice. So I'm kind of on that agenda, whereas I know people see it very much as they know it as wolf moon, first full moon of the year. But as you know, June is flashing her dragon.
I like the dragon. The dragon back.
The dragon there.
I think it was going to appear like quickly. I thought I'll just put it there for future use. And I whoops.
No, I think it looked great, June.
We liked dragon.
Back up. I want to look at that.
You want it again? Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, this is where I was asking you about the Native American and Canadian Indians naming of the moons was different to the Celtic ones here, and so that makes complete sense. Everybody's got their perspective. Yeah,
I may have got information from American TikTok, so that's probably why that's where I heard it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's readily known, Tamar. I don't think, it's basically just American TikTok. I think that because they have been allowed to carry on with their spirituality, and in England, we and the British Isles, we spend all our time looking to other countries and other cultures for our spiritual information as opposed to knowing our own. And one of my remits is returning people's focus back to all the magic that's in this land, because there is such an abundance of it.
Yeah.
Better.
The dragon's back. Amazing. So what time did the full moon happen? Was it during the night when we were asleep, or was it before bed?
June, do you know when it happened?
6 p.m. ish.
Oh, okay.
It happened
afternoon.
I thought it was today and put the crystals out, and I was like, I might have missed it. But obviously,
well, I think it's probably still having some effect, right? It doesn't just happen at that moment.
It was gone at 6:01.
It was
yeah.
12:54 p.m. Oh no, but that's I don't know, because my moon calendar
5:54 here.
Yeah, 5 hour, because my moon calendar is an American.
Okay, so it's in Leo. Sorry. So if it's in Leo, what does that mean?
So Leo means that it is about matters of the heart, and it will be connecting to intimate relationships, familial relationships, and the fact that it's Birch is a real kind of cleansing and clearing of those which don't serve ourselves. Because Leo is it's ruled by the sun rules our ego. It's kind of, it's self, not in a bad way, it's just self. So it's like, who do I love, and who is not reciprocating that love, and who needs to go. I mean, it feels like we're always clearing. I feel like I'm always telling people we're clearing, but we are, because we are a generation, or a kind of collection of generations that basically have been born at this time to do a massive karmic clear up across the world, that for kind of how dark humanity's got, and it's got very way down with negative karma.
And we've all volunteered for this job, haven't we? We've all gone, we'll come back round to help with this. There are days when I think, why would I do that? But obviously there's a bigger picture, and it's all for the good. I kind of feel like we're going through this huge change, and this, 3D, 5D, everyone's kind of elevating and becoming more enlightened. I'd kind of like to be there when it had happened and not live through this sticky bit that's happening in between. But I think it's going to take a while. Do we think this is like years, decades?
I just had a vision of us all.
Be great. Sorry, June.
I just had a vision of us all sitting on a cloud going, do you remember when? You were all there. It's going to be bragging rights, my darling. Never mind.
Yeah.
It is.
Hopefully enough karma to get us off this planet, and next time we can go and do something lovely, because this one's hard work.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, as June says, it's like, we will be, when we're in our highest like vibrational state, we'll be like, we were at the party that everyone else wanted access to. So it's kind of like sometimes when you're at the party, someone spikes your drink, or it's a bit challenging, or you have a moment where you feel really insecure and you don't know who you're going to talk to, and or the person you like looks at somebody else. So just kind of look at it that way, as a party that, when we look back with nostalgic human hindsight, we'll be like, I was there, I played my part. So June, yeah, I really resonate with that.
Someone said something the other day about something that was 30 years ago, and they went, oh, the 70s. They went, no, 1993. And you kind of go, oh. And I was sitting going, oh, the 90s, when the hairdos and the style of clothing was amazing, the music was amazing, and the prices in the supermarket didn't kill you. Take me back.
Oh my goodness. I want to go back one step earlier and go to the 80s. So, we're all on a different kind of continuum there. And you want to go to the 70s, do you, June? So exactly.
Yes. You got it.
Pre-social media, when everything was affordable and you could have a family on one salary. Yeah. I'm sure we're thinking nicer than it was, but go on.
That is incredibly relevant, because my husband just came in and showed me our electricity bill for this month, because we've got one of these horrible smart meter things. And my electricity bill from, when did it start? It started in October, and it's gone from, say, roughly, this is electricity and gas, from 150 up to 650 per month. And I'm just like, what is going on? And yeah,
corporate
and I'm
greed,
just like,
greed.
Whoa, what am I doing? It's not exactly as if I'm lying around in a bikini and it's absolutely sweltering around here. And I'm just like, my house isn't massive. What? We've done everything we can, and we don't leave doors open. I mean, yes, we've had lots of building work, but that's more or less finished now. So I'm like, eh. And they said, oh, put in electrical heating in the floors. It's much more economic.
Is it? And so my parents had underfloor heating at their last house, and I always think, you've got nice flooring down. If that goes wrong, you've got to dig all that back up again. It's something that's working on it, but I think from a practical point of view, is it better?
It's the only reason I did it was to remove the need for radiators on the walls, to basically have more
space. Did you dry your knickers?
But this is just in one area. I just have it in the kitchen. That's the only place I have it. I don't have it anywhere else, just in the kitchen diner. So yeah, everywhere else is bog standard radiators everywhere, and really nice, attractive ones. But yeah.
But it is insane, because on one hand, you've got all the prices going up, and I've seen people online with like bills that are thousands and thousands of pounds. And then at the same time, the companies are like recording their profits, and they're earning billions. So it's pure corporate greed. It feels like we're at the tail end of capitalism. Capitalism is dying, and everyone's trying to grab as much as they possibly can before that party's over and things change.
I saw an interview with a guy from Centrica who was talking about his bonus and his salary, and it was only a clip, and he was interesting because he was actually aware of the injustice of it all, but he was basically saying, what can I do? I don't set my own salary, I don't set my own bonus. So basically washing his hands of it all.
He took it though,
I don't think people are going to get away with that much longer.
Did he give it to charities?
He was trying to say that previous years he hadn't taken it. He has the choice to refuse, right? And previous years he hadn't, but this year, I think because he's retiring, he wanted to.
Was it like 145 million or something really obscene?
It was beyond ridiculous. I don't even remember. No.
We just need like a cap on, this is the amount you can earn. This is how much you can earn. And it's like, you can't earn more than 5 times your lowest earning, member of your company. And when people are earning, once you get to like 1 billion, hooray, you won capitalism. Well done. You can't have any more.
I think, Tamar, that all of the things that we need, like heating, water, phone, communication, all of that should be nationalized again, the
Yes.
trains, and not be any profit making. I think
Yes.
they should be run as community interest companies so that any profit goes back into the infrastructure for managing them. And this should not be a share market kind of thing to play with, toy.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
how dare you, push people so they can't keep warm? We're in the 21st century, for goodness sake. It's like, how can you do that? Or water prices where people are saying, oh, I can't have a bath. I got to have a bath once a week because my water bill's so high. And it's just like, are you nuts? What is going on? So I revolutionize the whole of the utility system, basically, and say back to nationalization, back to being managed not for profit.
And
Well,
we're
you
getting
hit the
Victorian.
nail on the head there with the word revolution, because seriously, I think part of the reason that this is happening is because if people are too cold and too hungry and too worried, they're not going to revolt
Right.
until they
Absolutely
get to the
right.
point where they're absolutely desperate.
And we
You know,
start
the French
eating the
Revolution
Prime
happened
Minister.
because
Yeah.
people were absolutely desperate. But
You say we're going to start eating the Prime Minister?
No, in France, they ate the Prime Minister. They did, like, once. There was one
What?
where they ate him because people are posting it going, this is what the French did once. Not saying we should, but
know
the
this.
whole
What?
House of Lords, take them all out. Let's just eat them. But we're getting a return of Victorian diseases. People are getting rickets and stuff again because they can't afford the healthy food. They can only afford the processed food because it's cheaper. It's not cheap anymore, but it's cheaper. And so all these illnesses are coming back. But like June says, it keeps you subjugated because you're too weak to fight. There are more of us than them.
Oh, it's so, yeah. But if they've changed the laws, so if you even got together in a small group, you can be arrested for terrorism. So,
Yeah, so we're going into fascism now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, there's so much restriction around even your ability, should you muster the energy to say, have a response. And, all
They
these
can't arrest all of us.
They can't
Yeah.
arrest all of us.
They can't arrest all of us. There's more of us than them. And if we eat them, they can't enforce those laws.
I like your thinking. Have you seen that film, The Cook, His Wife and Her Lover?
Oh, yes.
Where they did eat the husband. Didn't they eat the husband? And I
Oh,
remember them
gosh.
slicing off the privates.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Well,
there a
this
lot of
is taking a
nutritional
very
value in
dark
that?
turn.
Well, apparently that's what you get told, isn't it? It's really good for you.
But then you see, so another thing that's happening on social media is this whole, we need to be preparing for war. It's like, if you try and get this generation to join up for war, really, what are they fighting for? We don't have the national pride. You treat people like shit. You're starving them. You're not giving them a living wage. What exactly are they fighting for? Why do you think people will fight for the country at this stage? And there's so much information around. You know that you're just doing it for a bit of land or a bit of oil or whatever it is you're doing. That feeling isn't there anymore. So if you want to bring in conscription, good luck with that.
And I saw a headline saying reasons why you wouldn't be accepted by the army, and I just thought, why would somebody? This is what's wrong with Britain. It's like one agenda and then somebody else's part. It's just like, what do you got to say, June? You look like you want to say something.
Well, I was just going to say a lot of people join the army because they get fed.
Yeah. Well, someone did say, will my bills get paid if I join up?
Yep.
I was like, wow. That's how they get you.
Yeah, but also I have to say, like, that kind of structure for kind of young men and young people of kind of, giving them some of those life skills about kind of, management, timekeeping, things like that. Especially there's a whole generation of people that don't have like powerful role models as fathers. And I'm talking about the ideal army, or mothers that we've actually possibly got, with everyone kind of doing really dark stuff to each other. But, the concept of kind of the army could be really constructive for just turning people around if they just had to do a year or two. And it was like, right, you got to grow up, you got to, this is life, you got to get out there.
Why are we still fighting wars in this day and age?
I don't want to fight war. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Why is this still a thing? It's all a power grab. Why are we still running them? And we always said that, like, if there was a World War III, it would be nuclear and it'd be over. So
you just got why are we fighting wars? I've got better things to do than go felt.
Just
you
give
know, in
me
this
the
day and
power, I'll
age-
sort it out.
I will rule the world.
In this day and age, why is this still a thing? Why have we not evolved beyond this nonsense?
We are evolving towards that. That's what I really feel. And I think maybe the army has got a place in performing civil duties
Yeah.
in the community. You know, like when they went, I was so pleased when they went to Cumbria and there was a horrible flood and they went and rebuilt bridges because they've had great teamwork for doing stuff like that. They just go and they just work together as one. They are attuned to each other.
So we get the army to rebuild the railway network, sort out all the other stuff, you know, and get people involved in kind of, you know, because then, and the Navy and all the forces that train people up, it's like getting them, young people involved in that gives them, yeah, real structure. I think we just solved the world.
I think we should be running the country, right?
I think we should, with our cats.
With our cat.
With our
With
cats.
our cat. And also, yeah, that whole business, Tamar, of the war thing, and June, what you said, it's like a lot of this is language. I think people aren't aware of language. And so people focus on war and we talk about peacekeepers and stuff like that. And actually, we should be focusing on kind of, well, peace and the language we use. And so we've kind of got ourselves, this war is toxic masculinity, isn't it? It's the patriarchy. It's, you know, everything that comes from a place of fear. It's like, you know, I need more, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. That's kind of like the backstory to that. And
Yeah.
when you help people become empowered, then that backstory is no longer a truth because people realize that actually those things that they are told will make them happy. External validation through wealth and, you know, nice cars and drugs and whatever else people are peddling to tell you that that's the kind of, you know, the highway to heaven. It's like, the highway to all of that is in here. It's kind of what we hold and how we feel about ourselves and our lives. That's what the kind of, and that alters our vibration and then has a massive effect on what we attract in the lives we live.
Yeah. And the more we focus on that, the less the shadowy stuff has got room. You know, it's like we are collectively working from our hearts more and more. Even people in the worst difficulties, they see, I wasn't there, but I feel in a way I was because my parents were during the Second World War, and there was a real spirit of pulling together. And they are trying to call upon that feeling, but they're trying to encourage people to see an enemy and do to them before they do to us. That's the way that kind of thinking leads. Is like we have to be vicious and nasty because they're going to be vicious and nasty to us. If we assume that everyone is a human, which mostly they are, I think. I won't go down that one, but I think we all have a heart and we all are connected through the water, through the electromagnetic, you know, our energy vibrations and things. Then really seriously, that feeling, you know, and this is where the full moon in Leo is so important, is about heart stuff. And it's to do with spreading that heart love out there to people who are, yes, or the Korean one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Yeah.
They do that in the Korean dramas. I've got my granddaughter doing it. Did I tell you this already? I went down to see her earlier on in the month, and she went, "I've got something for you." She put her hand in her armpit and she came out like this.
Thought she was going to do an armpit fart. So cute. That's much nicer than armpit farts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's super cute.
Have you guys heard of, this came across my my consciousness this week, June, you might have heard of this, Agenda 30?
Yeah.
You have, yeah. So let me try and explain my interpretation and you can then fill in the gaps, June. But I understand that there's this whole climate agenda 30, which suggests that we have this climate control, this climate issue. However, I'm not denying there is a climate issue, but I am suggesting that the creation of that climate issue, based on what is out there, is all about weather manipulation, which started with cloud seeding in the 1920s or 30s. Some scientists worked out that you could create clouds through cloud seeding and things like that. And that kind of has become a weapon that is being used across the earth to again strike fear into people by creating all these ridiculous floods, these droughts, these fires, really kind of pushing people's buttons, and by promoting the fact that actually we've caused this ourselves by our own behavior, it means that people will be, again, easier to be controlled because they will pass a series of laws which restrict movement, flight, all this kind of stuff, because they're saying, well, look what you're doing to the planet. You have to have more of a conscience over it, as opposed to we're actually doing this to the planet to give us a kind of right to pass these further restrictions on your civil liberties so we can control you better. And this is kind of like picture of kind of what's going on, because the average person on the street is going to hear all this stuff about climate and know from what they look in the sky and what they see around them absolutely what is going on. Nature comes up 1 minute, it's too early, it's going down, it's like what's going on? So what do you think of that, June? Like, if
I've been involved in the green movement for a very long time, and the concern about the planet is real. I mean, we have behaved ridiculously, and our rubbish, people throwing things away that are causing trouble, like plastics and all the stuff that we thoughtlessly do. I mean, it's all about being mindful, isn't it? And I think if we can just personally take responsible for our own little patch, that's all we need to do. But what has happened is that they've latched onto this carbon thing, which is a real nightmare to try and get your head around. I mean, I've got books here. No, they're not with me here, but How Bad Are Bananas? Lovely man wrote that book. The brother of the guy who invented the internet. His name is hold on.
But it's all the corporations are creating all the carbon issues, but they're putting your individual carbon footprint. It's like me driving my little car once a week is not going to do to the damage what, I'm not going to say Taylor Swift, too many people love her, but what the famous people with their private planes are creating in a week. And it's all directed to the individual, and actually it's the corporations and the rich and famous that are the ones that are generating it all.
And it's not about the carbon. We've established this now. Carbon is necessary. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are made of carbon. This one, Mike Berners-Lee. Oh, sorry, the thing is.
The dragon has taken it, June. It doesn't want you to share
Dragon ate it. Mike Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the internet. Well, his brother Mike is a great environmental champion person.
But
and yeah, I mean, bananas are pretty bad because they're shipped all around the world, and people just get them in their supermarket and don't consider how they're grown, who's cotton clothes. The kids that have to pick the cotton are in horrible conditions. Mobile phones, the stuff that, where's my phone? Yeah, it's here.
Dragon ate it.
The components for mobile phones, people just take those all for granted and don't think about where they come from. So we do have a responsibility for certain things. But the whole carbon thing, did you hear the latest thing? Growing your own vegetables is supposed to create more carbon than
but
regular.
This is how ridiculous it's got, is the fact that it's like I did want to say something else, but I'd say, like, did you see that Dragon's Den kind of kickback over that woman that's basically glamorized the ear seeds, and now everyone's saying that she's selling snake oil, and she openly was on Dragon's Den saying she got her kind of messages from spirit. And Dragon's Den apparently had this zany episode where they had two people that were completely open about the fact they spoke to spirit, and everyone wanted to invest in them, and then suddenly the headliners get hold of it, the press, and they're like ripping them to shreds, and people are going, you can't get well with ear seeds, it's a myth. And it's just like,
yes, but the acupuncturists have a little axe to grind with this woman as well, because she's not properly trained acupuncturist. She's just an opportunist capitalist. So I don't like her at all. I think she's created this business. She's teaching people how to do ear seeds with no credentials whatsoever, no insurance, no backing of an association. I really loathe and detest this woman. I think she's vile. However, she has brought this thing into the public realm, which is a plus for
Thank
us,
you, June.
because now we can talk about ear seeds used by a properly qualified person alongside a holistic diagnosis and a main constitutional treatment. You can't just go bunging ear seeds left, right, and center and expect them to work. That's just ridiculous. But there is a room for this discussion to be had now. It's been brought up, so it's very interesting. So maybe this is why the spirits provoked her to do this.
They did, because they had to get it in a way that kind of, you know, both reflected the need for that information to make it more mainstream, but the fact that it couldn't be done by a generalist. So it's kind of, you know, it's raising the kind of whole kind of need for and recognition of the art and the experience required to do these things, but that they are a valid thing to choose to do to be well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to say about the Agenda 30 business is one of the things about this Agenda 30, I can't remember all the stuff I read. It was on Wise Women Weekdays. Somebody had done a talk on it, Sandy Adams. And she was saying that, oh God, that there's this whole agenda to break up the powers in Europe, like to make Europe, like get Europe to outsource, which it has done predominantly, all its manufacturing to the Far East, right? I'm talking in terms of pollution and things like that, because by doing that, it breaks the power within Europe. It makes it much more vulnerable because it can't survive on its own. And so that's another one of the kind of backstories to kind of the bigger picture stuff is, you know, it looks like, yeah, we're just outsourcing to India and China because it's easier, but also, and India and China obviously don't care about the kind of pollution levels and things like that. So it's kind of like an underhand thing on that level. It has so many different layers to it, but it's also about kind of making Europe really kind of just this homogeneous melting pot of kind of, you know, that's easy to manipulate. So that, I'm not trying to bring you down, because you both look a bit sad about that, but it's kind of like
Brexit.
it's just making people kind of a bit more aware of, you know, the different layers to what's going on, not to get caught in rabbit holes, but just to be a little kind of more awake.
Well, it's like
There's always
keeping your eye on that while still focusing on coming from your heart.
And coming back to you.
That is the biggest challenge for right now, is being aware of that and going, okay, bring it back down to what I can actually do
Can
in
I
my
say
little
something else?
world.
The other thing I want to say about that is what I've learned recently is that when people have a wake-up journey, they need to go down the rabbit holes. So they need to go on this journey where they discover the things they've been told and everything isn't true. And you think about that with when you do your own personal journey into yourself with any trauma or anything else like that, you have to go to quite a dark place to come back so that you can realize that you can't take it all on. You can't hold the responsibility for everyone else's lives in your hand. The only person's life you can be responsible for is your own. But, you know, we are part of a collective. So it's like that rabbit hole journey. If you are watching us and you find yourself going on it and anything we've said has sparked a further, I'll put some interesting links in the comments bar, not the comments, the description. Tamar's there for therapy support and things like that. June and I do things as well. We'll put our links in so you can basically get some support, because there is this kind of whole kind of navigation that is necessary in order to see the bigger picture, I think.
We're unpicking the structures that you've been brought up in and trained in, because something I teach my son is follow the money, and there's always a bigger picture. So what's the bigger picture? So I was lucky enough to get a university education when it was free. And so I've been taught to critically think. So I always go, well, I've seen that headline. What is it actually saying? Because a headline doesn't always match the article. And actually, who wrote this article? So the people that are slamming that lady with the ear seed things, I imagine my suspicion would be that's funded by Big Pharma, because they don't want you being able to heal stuff with something simple and cheap. They want you to take the expensive medication you're addicted to, so you're a repeat customer. Tinfoil hat. But it's, you know, there's always a bigger picture. Look at it. Who gains from this story? What are they trying to do? I was going to say something else. No, it's gone. Oh, follow the money. Always follow the money. Yeah. It's like someone's doing something bad. I always go to my son, what do you think's behind that? And he'll go, what's the money? And it's always money because we're in capitalist society at the moment. I look forward to the day when we're not.
Well, Sun and Pluto have moved into Aquarius.
They have.
Born of Aquarius.
Yeah.
And Pluto, sorry.
That's better, right?
Yeah.
You're going to tell us, please.
Pluto is the god of wealth. So people see Pluto as a kind of destruction, and there's a kind of everything has duality. So with Pluto, you've got destruction, shadow self, transformation, but you've also got money, sexuality, uniqueness. So you have this kind of two things going on. And the reason he is associated, he's a male planet, to wealth is because he's the god of the underworld. And in ye ancient times, the underworld was where all the minerals were. So it's where all the treasure was kept. So it was actually a really positive thing before it was morphed into some version of a dark place to go by Christianity. Now, I can understand why they did that because, too much of anything like that, if it's taken for the wrong reasons, produces greed, which we've been talking about. So that's the darker side of, this, I've got to grab it all and, not share it and all that kind of, selfish behavior. But Pluto in Aquarius has both light opportunities. It has lots of opportunities for technology, which will evolve at quantum leap. And also uniqueness, humanity, collective consciousness, all of that stuff is coming up. But on the other side, it can make people very guarded and detached and distrustful. So there's kind of, there's this, and you can see that, can't you? When people getting distrustful, that guy you were talking about, June, being detached. I've never taken my bonus before. I'm going to take it this year. Aren't I good? It's like, it's that detachment of it's not my problem, as we all know that anything crosses your desk is your problem. Anything that crosses your path is your responsibility.
And if the CEO can't change things, what the hell is he for?
He could have a meeting with other CEOs. He could do so many things with that power. Is he choosing to do that? No.
There has been a group of rich, and I don't know where, I need more information, but a group of rich people that have written to the governments and said, tax us, let's improve the country, tax us. So they're not all bad. And I always say, like, there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. I believe that. I'm assuming these are the millionaires that are saying you need to tax us properly because the tax systems are ripe with loopholes.
It's true. It is true. And people, earn the money, take it off. And the reason they don't want to impose a higher tax bracket on the rich is because London has always been regarded as a kind of capital centre, like for finance. And they worry that it won't attract all these rich people that buy up all these properties in London and don't live in them.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it Russian oligarchs it's meant to be full of? And haven't they all left recently? They think something's happening.
I don't know, but I do know that the City of London is a whole, it's like the Vatican. It's a law unto itself.
Yeah, it's not
and
part of
they do have some power and some sway in Parliament as well. And I don't know the full extent of all that because I looked at it and I thought, okay, yeah, can I influence this? No, okay, I'll go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until you can do something about it. I mean, I think we've said this before, it's nice to be conscious of what's going on so you're not ignorant. But I think, like you've both said during this call, you focus on the things you can control. If I can do something about it, let me know and I'm there. Mm-hmm. But until I can, it's not helpful for me to use my energy on that.
Because it lowers your vibration and then you're not helping the world. If everyone basically vibrated at their own perfect frequency, there wouldn't be any of this anyway. We call it living above the swing of the pendulum. So you hold that space where actually you see the good, you see the bad, and you realize that it's all part of the same story in the game of life.
And so the things that you can do to raise your own vibration, it's like the materials that you wear. So I can't really wear synthetics anymore. I think that's being of a certain age. But like if I wear a synthetic jumper, by the end of the day, I'm really angry. So it's the clothes that you wear, the food that you eat, there's the media that you consume, the people you surround you with, the thoughts you allow. There's so much you can do to raise your vibration. Claire, what are things that people that are listening can do today to raise their vibration by bedtime?
Well, I'm sure June will agree with me, meditation. So even just if it's 2 minutes or a minute of just closing your eyes and breathing through your nose and out through your nose, so you oxygenate at the same time, and just allowing some stillness inside is a really good way to do it. And to practice that every single day, like a day review, to focus on what's happened, what hasn't happened, what's yours, beginning to see situations and your culpability in them because you are the creator in your own life. And other more practical things are essential oils, like they're really good for raising vibration and protection because they are made of plants and they're made of magic. And yeah, the plant kingdom has so many wonderful things that are just there for us to take and make the most use of to help us hold that space. Because especially when we're beginning to do things differently, we're like Bambi, aren't we, on the ice? So until we kind of keep practicing getting on that ice, we're going to keep splaying, and then eventually we'll be graceful.
Falling on our asses.
Yeah, or our tummies or wherever. But yeah, and then become graceful stags in our own lives.
Well, yeah, as a former figure skater, I totally resonate with that. First of all, you get on the ice and your little feet are going all over the place. And then you learn that there's two little ridges and they're there for a reason. And you can go on edges and you can scoop away and you can do this and you can do that. And you just, oh, it's wonderful. It's glorious. I did it when I was a kid. Yeah. Everybody in Canada ice skates, don't they?
You said you were a figure skater, so I think you've taken that slightly higher than just somebody getting a pair of boots on.
Well, yeah. I belonged to a club where we did shows once a year and we did little things. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it
that's
was
my
really,
daughter's dream. She would love to do that, but there's nowhere around where we live where you can do things like that.
oh, you have to have a skating rink. I mean, there's a really good one in Sheffield where Torval and Dean used to go, right?
Pop over after school, you'll be fine,
I
Claire.
know, with all the carbon miles that I'll, the footprint that I'll create that doesn't actually really matter anyway, but yeah.
Oh, bless. But yeah, it's right. It's right. We have to learn to skate. We have to learn to skate again. I don't think I could do it now. And I go to any of these skating rinks and they're just filled with, grooves where people have used these horrible skates that they lend to you and they just like, horrible. And then they melt and they don't freeze them again properly. So yeah, there's a lesson in everything, right?
Absolutely.
Everything.
There is also a good skating rink down in Brighton, should you ever want to visit, where they do after every session, June, they go on there and they make it fresh again.
Whoa. So you have got a skating rink here.
Temporary though. It's only from like a few months. Like I think it goes away at the end of this month.
Oh, right.
And it costs it's £18 for her to get on for an hour. So you can imagine. And that's just on her own. And people don't do lessons on it anyway, but
yeah, all you're allowed to do is skate round in a circle. That's very
No
tedious.
twirling.
Oh no, people do that. They go in and out. They do all kinds of funky stuff. It's cool.
Oh, do they? Oh, that's cool.
And you're like watching them go because you just sit on the side and have hot
chocolate. Oh, that's lovely.
That's a beautiful analogy. We're all just trying to learn to skate.
Yes.
Yeah. And I try and teach people self-care things to help keep them balanced and centered, because if you can do stuff at home, to switching yourself on and making sure your front and your back are balanced and your top and your bottom and your ears and pull your ears to get more energy. Yeah.
What's this? Front and bottom.
Oh, okay, right. Well, there's two meridians that come up the front and the back, the main resource meridians, that reservoir meridians, I mean, that serve the rest of the 14 basic ones that we all use in acupuncture. And they meet here. And so if you hold your belly button and you rub there, you're balancing your front and your back.
When you say hold your belly button, do you mean put your palm on it or stick your finger in it?
Put your palm, just rest it over your belly button and then rub quite firmly. You're right, poking yourself. No. Be careful. There's always a proviso. Go gently. and then you rub under your collarbone. There. That's the top end of the kidney meridian, still holding your belly button, and that bounces the two sides. And then rubbing your tailbone, which is much easier to do. since we're all sitting down, holding the belly button still and rubbing the tailbone, that bounces the top and the bottom. Because a lot of us, and you might know this, are hot on the top and cold on the bottom. So, that's a thing that happens. And we need to, make sure that the heat is drawn down and we are grounded and whatnot. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Grounding.
Thank you, Ju. I liked that.
We like sharing useful information.
Yes, I love it. I do it all the time. We do it on the PHA Wellbeing Wednesday thing a lot, and cross crawl, of course, balancing yourself with the walking, exaggerated walking. You lift the right knee and put the left hand on it, and the left hand on the right knee. Yeah, the other way around. Right hand on the left knee, left on the right, and then you're bouncing the two sides of the brain. And
So I used to do that when I was revising for exams, would throw a ball from left to right hand, because it's supposed to spark both sides, so it increases your learning.
Yes. Yes. Yes, that comes from brain gym and educational kinesiology. There are figure eights, lazy eights that you can do as well, and putting the two sides of your brain together like this. And
let's do a session on that next time. Let's come back and talk about some of those wonderful brain gym things.
I'm not a brain gym practitioner, though.
No, but we've done them, and I know a load as well because I've done a course.
Okay.
So, someone else. So
excellent.
Yeah, so we can, but we can give tips. This is the point.
We can point people in the right direction if they want to know more.
We can.
That's a good thing to do.
Sounds good. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, ladies, thank you very much. Interesting as always. We leave with love and light, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
And it'll be the dragon by then.
The dragon will be back.
February 10th.
We'll talk about that actually next time then, the wood dragon.
Okay.
Onward and upwards, comrades.